You could be an MBA aspirant who has been preparing for CAT or has started to prepare for CAT, either way. And there is this one question which you have in your mind, that are the IIMs worth it? And very frankly, it's not specifically about IIMs as in the institute. It's more about, is MBA as a degree worth it? Is it overrated? Should I even consider to pursue MBA in India? What's going to happen after that? It's a question which a lot of you have, which you might have had at some point of time in your CAT prep. And this is a very legitimate question for you to have. I'll tell you why I think it's a very legitimate and a fair question to pop up in your mind. Because sure, at some places you would have heard or would have seen that, okay, placements at certain institutes are slower than what you'd expect them to be, or the salaries are a bit lower than what you'd expect them to be, or the kind of companies which used to come to this campus are not coming in this particular year, and all of those things. And because of that, I can understand that without a structured thought process, which I am going to give you in this video, it's very easy to think and spiral down into this thought. But this is an important topic for me to speak on. ये मेरे लिए बहुत important topic है वीडियो बनाने के लिए, because this directly affects your mindset, and anything that affects your mindset with respect to your CAT prep, with respect to your MBA life, with respect to your career in general, I take it upon me, it's in my expertise or my purview to talk about it. That's why I will speak about it, so that you get the right mindset. By the end of this video, you will get the answer to this question, that whether it is overrated for you or not. I can guarantee you this is going to be a long video, because in this video I will not just be speaking about कि हाँ जी है और ये advantages है MBA के और ये थोड़े problems है MBA में या फिर ये कर लो वो कर लो, नहीं. I'll be giving you 2 examples and 2 stories, and by the time I'm done with those 2 examples, you'll have your answer for it. I'll give you one example, and you have to bear with me for this. These are going to be very interesting stories. You will be able to imagine it in front of your eyes, and I want you to be with me in this. Imagine a guy who pursued his engineering from BITS Pilani, okay, and he was from a tier 2 place, and there is this female who's from a posh place somewhere, and she pursued her undergraduation from SRCC. Both of them appeared for the exam CAT in 1 year, and they don't know each other. Obviously, they are currently 2 strangers in some different parts of India, and both of them appeared for CAT. Both of them scored exceptionally well, and both of them got a call from IIM Ahmedabad. Both of them prepared well for their admission interviews. They went to IIM Ahmedabad, the IIM Ahmedabad admission interview. And the reason why I'm using IIM Ahmedabad as an example is because it's very convenient for you to actually imagine IIM Ahmedabad as that example. And both of them get the selection offer that yes, you've been admitted to IIM Ahmedabad, and both of them are from top tier colleges, BITS Pilani Engineer and SRCC, something from there, okay, BCom most likely. And they come to the campus, still strangers, and in the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, a month or 2 months or 4 months, they meet each other, they talk to each other, and they're friends and classmates and everything, and they start to like each other as well. And these are good, bright students. Summer internships happen. The guy, the BITS Pilani one, he gets placed into a top tier consulting firm, which is McKinsey, a dream summer internship for somebody who would want to be in that space. This female who wanted to get into marketing gets placed at HUL for her summer internship, again a top tier brand management summer internship which happens over there. That's great. Both of them do their summer internships, they come back to the campus, and they realize that okay, their feelings for each other is going stronger, and they like to spend that summer. After all that hard work which they would have done to crack CAT, they now realize that okay, now it's the time for them to let loose and to really enjoy life in all senses of that word. And soon enough, they also get the news that okay, both of them have got PPOs, pre-placement offers from their respective organizations, which is McKinsey and HUL. My dear friends, the career is sorted now. Now we can just explore the friendship or something else which we want to do at campus, some hobbies, some gymming or sports or whatever, and we're just enjoying our last few days and months at IIM Ahmedabad. And they graduate from IIM Ahmedabad with stellar salaries. Somebody at a 28 LPA, somebody else at a 24 LPA, and they're starting off at great salaries. They get placed in the same sheher as well, and in a few years from there, they decided to get hitched, also married, and they do that. And all this while, in the last 3 years, 4 years, they have been traveling around the world together to different countries where they always aspire to go. And now they have a partner who's of the same caliber, same level, same thought process. They speak the same language, and they appreciate and respect each other for who they are and what they have achieved in their in their story. And say 5 years after all of that, they decide to move abroad altogether, and they could do it easily because both of these are global companies. At least one of them is for sure. He gets an offer somewhere outside, he joins it. She also finds a job anywhere around the world because she's from IIM Ahmedabad, and they are now settled abroad. If you who has this question कि अरे ये IIM overrated है, अगर आप now you just imagine that you ask them that मतलब कि सुनिए मतलब भैया आप अभी अब्रॉड है ना, मुझे एक सवाल पूछना था, मैं कैट एस्पिरेंट हूँ, ये बताइए ये सर ये कैट करने में मैं कैट पढ़ रहा हूँ, ये IIMs overrated है क्या, MBA करना चाहिए क्या? What do you think is going to be answer of that guy or that female? You know what they're going to say? And you know the answer. They're going to say that MBA changed our lives. In fact, it gave us this life which we have right now. There was no way, if I would have not gone to IIM Ahmedabad, there was no way I was going to get into a top tier consulting firm at least this soon. There was no way I was getting into HUL this soon. There was no way I was going to find this human being as my spouse. There was no way we were going to meet each other. There was no way that we could earn so much paisa so early. There was no way that we could have traveled all around the world without thinking about that, okay, अरे expenditure इतना लगेगा. There was no way we could have settled abroad so soon with the partner we liked and we enjoyed for so long, fancied for so long. They will come back and tell you, hey, if you need to change your life, please pursue MBA. अब आप कहोगे यार ये तो आपने बहुत बड़े एग्जाम्पल दे दिए, IIM अहमदाबाद है, हाँ वो तो हमने भी कब बोला है कि वहाँ पे इशू नहीं है. मैं कहता हूँ एक लेवल में आ जाता हूँ नीचे. Let's talk about IIM Udaipur. There is this guy. All of these are very interesting stories. You have to hear this because also I must inform you, these are real stories, real institutes, real situations. Now there's a second story, IIM Udaipur story. Okay, very important because some of you might be very skeptical about कि अरे but तो बड़े IIM की बात, हम तो छोटे लोग हैं, कुछ लोग को ये भी प्रॉब्लम होती है. तो मैं कहता हूँ चलो यार छोटे IIM की बात करते हैं, छोटे IIM की बात करते हैं. There's this guy from a tier 2 शहर had pursued his engineering from a tier 5 or tier 6 institute. ठीक है, and there's this female again from a tier 2 place pursued her BCom or BA or something from a tier 4 or 5 institutes. ठीक है जी, किसी ने बोला कि यार कैट लिखो, उसने कैट लिखा, उसने कैट लिखा, परसेंटाइल आ गई जो भी आई, मतलब कि ठीक ठाक आई, and both of them found a call from IIM Udaipur some 7, 8, 10 years back and they got into IIM Udaipur. Again, they met each other, they talked, they were good friends initially, were not, or all of those things, and eventually they started to like each other. And आपको लग रहा होगा ये रोमांस एंगल हर बार क्यों आ रहा है? Because this makes the whole example wholesome. इसमें सारे एग्जाम्पल इसमें सारे एंगल्स कवर हो जाते हैं, योर जॉब, योर लाइफ एंड करियर, एवरीथिंग. एंड देन दे डिड देयर समर इंटर्नशिप्स एट सम कंपनीज, सम नॉट वेरी ग्रेट कंपनीज, सम ओके कंपनीज. एंड फाइनल जब आया ऑफर तो मतलब यूएई की कोई 2 ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस थी. वन पर्सन गॉट प्लेस्ड समवेयर इन ओमान, द अदर पर्सन गॉट प्लेस्ड इन बहरीन आई बिलीव, एंड दे गॉट प्लेस्ड एंड दे वर स्टिल टुगेदर स्ट्रांग. एंड 6 years after that, they switched to the same organization in Dubai. Eventually, a few years after that, the guy had a lot of responsibilities on him. He purchased a home for his family here in India. Also, a few years after that, he got hitched with the same human being. They got hitched and they jointly purchased a house in Dubai. And now they happily live married in Dubai. Cut to that day when they were in a tier 2 town with average undergraduation this thing and with average scores in class 10, 12. वो क्या कौन दुबई सोचता है? सोचते जरूर हैं बट कितना रियलिस्टिक है. और हाँ, एक ब्यूटीफुल या एक हैंडसम स्पाउस के साथ एक जो गोल्स होते हैं that will take a house, how many would how would they have imagined it? Again, if you were to ask them, sir, ma'am, is MBA worth it for you or not, or for me or not, what do you think they would say? They would beg you. They might even beg you and say that please pursue MBA, or talk to somebody who can convince you that you should pursue MBA because it might change your life. Again, observe this. I'm not saying it will change your life. It might change your life, because that is where now the part is. My dear friends, the point is that you will meet 4 kinds of people. Type number 1, person who has gone to a B school and will say please do MBA, it's a life-changing experience. Person 2, who you will meet who has pursued an MBA but who will say यार MBA करने का कोई फायदा नहीं हुआ. ठीक है, ये दोनों लोग वो हैं जिन्होंने MBA करी है. एक ने बोला बहुत अच्छा है, एक ने बोला नहीं है. Both of us know intuitively, you and I, that इसमें से कौन लोग ज्यादा हैं. We know that the people who pursue MBA and who say that yes, it was worth it for whatever reason, be it for the job or for the kind of organization or for what they found there, be it in terms of friendships or love or whatever, किसी ना किसी एंगल से ये वाले जो किस्म के हैं लोग लोग ये ज्यादा मिलेंगे कि हाँ यार एंड ऑल वर्थ इट था, टोटली वर्थ इट था, यू शुड डू इट, वर्क हार्ड। ये वाले लोग मिलेंगे कम, ये भी होंगे, मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ लाइटली नहीं होंगे, बट वी नो इट इंट्यूटिवली कि ये लोग बहुत होंगे कम, ये लोग ज्यादा होंगे। दो टाइप और रह गए, एक है जिसने एमबीए नहीं करा एंड दे वुड से दैट यार एमबीए करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है, अपस्किल कर लो, ये डिग्रीज कर लो, ये परस्यूट्स कर लो और तुम यू विल डू समथिंग ऑफ योर ओन और यू विल फाइंड अ जॉब एंड यू कैन स्विच एंड यू विल बी देयर। एक ये होगा, और एक और होगा उसने भी नहीं करा है एमबीए बट ही और शी विल से दैट यार एमबीए कर लेना चाहिए था यार, वर्थ इट था बिकॉज आई हैव सीन समबडी। इसमें भी पता है हमें कौन टाइप के लोग ज्यादा मिलेंगे, इन द वंस हु हैव नॉट परस्यूड एमबीए, यू नो इट फॉर अ फैक्ट दैट द वंस हु विल से कि यार एमबीए का क्या फायदा था, वो ज्यादा मिलेंगे आपको। एटलीस्ट व्हेन यू गो आउट एंड रिसर्च ऑन यूट्यूब एंड ऑन योर इंस्टाग्राम यू वुड नो दैट यस दैट इज द थिंग। द पॉइंट व्हिच आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक इज दैट माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, इट डिपेंड्स, योर आंसर depends on one whom you are talking to. I've seldom found people who have pursued MBAs who have shat on their MBAs and have said it was worthless and all. That's that. It depends. A person who has done MBA properly will always recommend it. That's one. The second thing, my dear friends, is that either it is a top tier institute which skyrockets your chances of what you will do after your MBA. You will do something great after your MBA. Either that or your ability to extract something great from your MBA. Like somebody went to an IIM Udaipur and now is doing something of his own, which also brings me to the point then that there needs to be a balanced view when you look at this, and probably a third party or a third group would be somebody who would be giving you a balanced view, which is actually the real view, which is actually why sometimes this question seems to be such a legitimate question. That view is, which is the view which you need to adopt, that probably now what somebody who's saying that hey probably MBA is not worth it, शायद वो कहना ये चाह रहे हैं कि अब MBA is not the only way in which you can achieve those metrics of success. Probably that is one way to look at it, and which is true now, which is true that some of these metrics of success in terms of how much you earn, in terms of where you are staying, in terms of who you are with, can be achieved without an MBA as well, because of the kind of democracy in the knowledge that is there, because of the ease of execution which is there thanks to AI and all of these things, which again brings us to the point, what are your skills? Are you well equipped with AI or not? Because that is helping you in brainstorming, strategy and execution as well. Are you good with words? Can you sell? Can you do all of those things? Because now even if you have that, that is also one avenue for you to reach a success, a good successful place. May not be in the same form, may not be in the same form of what you would get from your MBA. For example, MBA has its own need, MBA has its own demand. What is the fastest way to find an investment banking or private equity or consulting job? Please don't tell me it is anything else but MBA from a top tier institute. Let's not get delusional in that. कुछ चीजें हैं, बहुत चीजें हैं जो कि अभी भी आपको कायदे से respectably in the fastest manner possible एक top tier MBA, I'm not even saying any MBA, only a top 2, 3, 5 institutes, 7 institutes can get you that, and the examples I have shared with you. So one form of success which might come to you in the form of a top tier international multinational job in private equity, investment banking, consulting, finance, maybe some brand marketing roles, are reached primarily through an MBA and in some cases faster through an MBA program. But now thanks to other opportunities, other skills, other certificate programs. Now I also have to talk to you about this argument that hey, why do you have to do MBA? You can just upskill and do certain certificate programs and you can actually improve yourself. I will be speaking about this in the next video. There has to be a separate video, and let me know if you want me to make that video, because that's a different line of thought which you need to adopt, which is a continuation of this only. But yeah, भैया एंड में आपको पॉइंट समझ आ जाना चाहिए। वो बात ये है कि आप एक अच्छे इंस्टीट्यूट में जाके भी गुड़ गोबर कर सकते हैं, चांसेस कम है। आप एक मीडियोकर इंस्टीट्यूट में जाके भी गुड़ गोबर अपना प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते, उसके चांसेस ज्यादा हैं बिकॉज अपॉर्चुनिटीज हो जाती हैं कम। बट इसका कोई प्रमाण नहीं है कि ऐसा है कि MBA is now not worth it because of the sheer number of examples which you will get, which will prove you the contrary of it, that yes, it helps us change lives. That is still there, that is going to remain in the foreseeable future. That is what you need to do, which then brings me to one final point, which actually is the crux of it. If you see it, it depends on how optimal is your MBA experience, or how do you think right now as an aspirant how optimal your MBA experience is going to be, because that is what is going to define what benefit you take out of your MBA. अगर आप एक top tier टियर इंस्टीट्यूट में चले गए, IIM अहमदाबाद, बैंगलोर, कलकत्ता, LK, XLR, FMS यहाँ चले गए, तो ज़्यादा परसेंटेज ऑफ चांसेस हैं दैट यू विल डू एक्सीडिंगली वेल, वेरी लेस परसेंटेज ऑफ चांसेस दैट यू विल डू लेस वेल. एवरीथिंग इज एवरीथिंग इज अ ट्रेड ऑफ ना. तुम जब एक बी स्कूल को चूज करते हो, या फिर व्हेन यू कॉल अ ड्रीम, व्हेन यू कॉल अ बी स्कूल एज योर ड्रीम बी स्कूल, देयर आर ऑलवेज परसेंटेज ऑफ चांसेस कि यहाँ पे मैं ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुल बनने के मेरा स्कोप है. Whereas if you go to a lower if you go to a lower tier B school, then obviously you still have opportunities but fewer opportunities. तो ये ट्रेड ऑफ जा नहीं रहा है. तो जब ये सवाल आता है वर्थ इट है कि नहीं है, that's a very subjective question, probably a question on which you and I need to have a discussion personalized to you कि भाई मेरे circumstances सर ये हैं, मेरी अभी सैलरी इतनी है, मेरी ये है, मेरे लिए ये पर्टिकुलर इंस्टीट्यूट वर्थ इट है या नहीं, या मेरे लिए ये पर्टिकुलर प्रोग्राम वर्थ इट है या नहीं, या मेरे लिए अब इस स्टेज पे MBA करना ऑल टुगेदर वर्थ इट है या नहीं. वो सब सब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चन से पर्सनली बात करनी चाहिए. इस वीडियो में मैंने डेटा पे बात नहीं करी है, बिकॉज डेटा इस माइंडसेट को मैटर नहीं करता है. ये पहले माइंडसेट है, सोचना सही होगा आपको, और इससे हमें समझ यही आता है दैट MBA एक्सपीरियंस आपका सब ऑप्टिमल नहीं हो सकता है. इसके लिए यू नो दिस फॉर द लास्ट 2 years नाउ, आई हैव अ प्री MBA कोर्स, आई नीड टू स्पीक अबाउट इट हियर बिकॉज दिस इज व्हाई आई मेड इट. दिस इज वन ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट आई रियलाइज्ड, दैट पीपल हु आर गोइंग टू सम ऑफ द डिसेंट B schools are not making the best of it. That is why this pre-MBA course, which is what you should take right now if you were to make really good things out of your MBA, it's called How to Be School. As the name suggests, it helps you unlock your full potential, answers the most important questions across how to do well in your academics in your MBA, extracurricular activities, networking, which specialization to choose, balancing life and studies, clubs and extracurricular activities, entrepreneurships, how to earn final placements, friendships and romantic relationships also, because all of that is a part of it. And again, helps you choose a specialization, helps you learn the concepts of MBA before you get into MBA. See, again, people would come and tell me now after this that क्या तो sales pitch मार गया. Sales pitch नहीं है. I'm telling you the problem which I have encountered for students. Which students? I at one point of time was also very clueless, and I made something which solves it. Instead of for you to have to speak to me again and again and find the time to watch some of this like this, I custom made something which is very tailored to this need of yours, that please make optimal use of your MBA, because then you will be the one who will be salty after 2 years and coming back and saying that maybe you are worth it, Tanita. Most likely you will not be saying that. You will be saying that अरे मुझ में ही कुछ कमी रह गई थी. Avoid that. Do well in your MBA.